What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So what I just was watching is Dragon Typer's video on 5 ideas for the Hall of Fame. You can check that in the description. And what I want to talk about is my own 5 ideas for the Hall of Fame. Let's get right into the video. So the first idea, I'm going to jump right into it, is team active and speed stats. Now, this one might kind of confuse you at the start, but it's literally actually really simple. Literally, the most active teams will go on the leaderboard, and the fastest teams will go on the leaderboard. For most active, it's pretty straightforward, just the most races completed as it is on the normal racer leaderboard. However, for the speed leaderboard, it might be a little bit harder because of the fact that somebody, for example, Chak, could create a team and immediately go 196 words a minute for one race and get on the leaderboards. Obviously, this would be unfair. So, as fastest racers for 500 races, I think the fastest team should have like around 10,000 races. Obviously, it might sound like a lot at the start, but if you think about it, it's really only 200 races per person if you have 50 people on your team. And this will really do the best job of preventing people, not that I'm saying Chak or BL or Raptor would do this, however, preventing anyone over maybe 140, 150 minutes or words per minute from literally dominating these leaderboards in that sense. So yeah, I think this is like a really cool idea in a way. This is my favorite idea of all of them, just because as of right now in the current meta of Nitro Type, the only really thing that teams can work forward to is a season and 24-hour leaderboards, and having this Hall of Fame would be something that could really just improve team spirit and team ambition, as well as encourage teams to recruit faster members and therefore encourage people to try to go faster instead of going more active, although it will also reward people who are active. So basically, going into the next one, it is literally, my next tip is literally to extend the most active leaderboards. And this is not my idea, by the way. I believe Penguin Typer has mentioned it before. I'm not sure if anybody else has, but basically, extending the most active and possibly even fastest racer leaderboards would be the best thing in my opinion, to kind of reward people who aren't necessarily at the top but have still put a lot of effort into their game when it comes to activity, or are still relatively fast when it comes to fastest racer. This is pretty straightforward. Not much to say about being the fastest racer. Both activity, if you had the top 100 say, then maybe almost everyone with the Lacan would be able to be on that leaderboard, and because getting your Lacan is a lot of work, then they will be rewarded for that. Otherwise, those are my first 2 kind of tips in a way as to how to improve the Hall of Fame. I think that they'll both really kind of improve the meta of Nitro Type as a whole, because as of right now, it's kind of dull, especially when it comes to the Hall of Fame. After most money, Nitro's used, longest session and oldest active player were removed. The Hall of Fame has gotten a little dull. So for these next ones, I'm going to give a few more kind of ideas and throw them out here, and let's get right into it. Now, thirdly on this list, I have cars owned, and this is not my idea either. This is actually from Dragon Typer's video. Once again, you check it out in the description. But cars owned is something that I also think would be a great idea to add to Nitro Type, just because cars are such like a centered thing in the game. People usually brag about how many cars they have if they do have an abundant amount of cars, and if they don't, then obviously they usually keep their car count low to your favorites, or vice versa. It really doesn't matter. I'm not even sure where I'm going with this, to be honest, but cars, at the end of the day, cars do play a very, very big role in the game. So cars are something that really Nitro Type kind of focuses on, as to how the game is kind of run. Obviously, cars are much more diversified in Nitro Type, having over, I think, 210 now. And with over 200 of them, I believe, being achievable, It's very impressive as to how they are able to do this in the game. And so big props to Nitro Type. And to have the most cars owned, as Dragon Typer said, would be something that would be really cool to add to Nitro Type. Having most cars owned, I believe I Love Shoes or Slider on the Black, or even maybe Carry Perk might have the title as of right now. I'm not completely sure, but most cars owned is something that a lot of people can take or a lot of people can work towards over time and over patience. If this were to be introduced right now, a lot of old grinders that would still be active would probably take the top spots. However, if you were able to kind of stay consistent in the site and work your way up, then you could probably get there. To be honest, I think that this should only have like the top 5 or 10 people and not be as wide as, for example, the most active racers, which I think should be 100, or maybe the fastest racers, which I think should also be 100. And just to add on one more thing, do you think fastest racers should be 1,000 plus races, because it's too easy to get your alt account? As you can see right now, VL has has 2 accounts on his. Nothing against it, but just to be honest, you'd want to kind of clear it up for other accounts to get on it, because having 2 people, example VL, in the 4th and 5th spot is not the most perfect representation of who's actually in the 5th spot, because VL is currently holding both of those titles. So, obviously, just to like to say, fastest racer will always probably be illegitimate. Obviously, fingers go boom in first place is probably a botter, unless it's somebody who has a different display name that I'm not sure of. Anyways, I'm kind of getting off track. Cars on Nitro Type would be a really cool thing to add to the Hall of Fame, just because it's kind of something that like you always think about when you think of Nitro Type, but you never really particularly care about it until you're really thinking about it. I know it sounds weird how to phrase that, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So going on to my 4th idea, this is something that would also kind of show your experience on the site and your competitiveness on the site, and this is to add gold medals. So medals, I'm just gonna put it as medals. So whenever you win a race, right, on Nitro Type, if we go to, for example, my stats, right, and you can see up here 6,764 gold medals. And I think this is something that should most definitely be added to the game, or the Hall of Fame. I know it sounds kind of weird to incorporate gold medals into the game, but I think it's a really cool idea, just because of the fact that gold medals might be something that people could work towards too. People like Titanium Tendons and Penguin Typer have recently made videos as to how to win more races, and it's really a big thing in Nitro Type nowadays. I feel like having those gold medals is something that's more appreciated than it used to be. It sounds pretty weird, but it's kind of true. Final thing that I would like to bring back to Nitro Type, or to bring to the Nitro Type Hall of Fame, is profile views. And the main argument behind this, or the main argument that people would say do not, is because it's too similar to the most active Hall of Fame, and you might use the logic that obviously Wildflower will be on the top, with Mal being second, and so forth. However, there are a few variables that can change this. For example, Penguin Typer has over 64,000 profile views, and he has not been on the leaderboards over around like 30th place ever, and so it really does kind of show you that you can really change, profile views are kind of different from activity in most cases. For example, people like Chak, who or VL actually I should say. But if Chak were to stay on the leaderboard and the fast racer leaderboard for even a little bit longer, he would most definitely have a higher profile view count than this, and so forth. And so obviously you can see that it really will change kind of how people view profile views. I know most people don't care about them, but I do think that they're kind of a cool feature. that people might like. And if you do have, like, for example, your top 10 and you have 15,000 profile views, it might be beneficial just to add that to people who maybe aren't necessarily or are necessarily on the leaderboards, or maybe they're invested in other parts of the community, such as maybe a Nitro Type admin, for example, Corndog. I believe racer slash Corndog. Obviously, you see that the Corndog, aka Austin Butler, aka the creator of this website, has over 900,000 profile views. And this is literally second on the leaderboards, I believe, unless Travis, and this is also excluding the Wampus, unless Travis has more, which I do not believe he does. Yeah, he just has a little bit less. So obviously, it is or it could be different. Obviously, you'd see admins on the top of the leaderboard. You'd see Wildflower well in front, unless you include the Wampus, in which case the Wampus would be at the top. It's very a different thing, and I think that it will be a cool thing to add to Nitro Type. Even though it's a little bit random, I think it's just to spice up the leaderboards. It would be a cool thing to add. Thank you everyone for watching today. This was a really, really kind of long video, especially for my channel. It was a good 12, 13, 14 minutes, I believe. I'll look at the timer after this. Thank you everyone for watching today. Obviously, the Hall of Fame is something that probably won't leave for a while, especially these two, fastest racer and most active. A lot of people have been suggesting most accurate, but obviously sandbagging and race selecting would change this very much. Although you can also say that reselecting changes fastest racer. Anyways, that is it for today's video, everyone. It was a pretty long video, but I do definitely think that these are 5 things that could and probably should be added to the leaderboards. I think it'll definitely improve how people view the leaderboards. It'll spice it up and spice up the Hall of Fame in general. Have a great day, everyone, and peace out.